Inside the Roseway luxury apartments, we meet a man named Vaughn Cortez.
You picked a hell of a day to visit. I'm Vaughn. Vaughn Cortez. Dr. Vaughn Cortez. But just Vaughn's fine, really.
So where were you when the Outlaws attacked?
Over in the main labs. I rabbited back here when I realized I was hearing gunshots, not blown fuses. We've been cooped up in here, I don't know, hours? Too long. I have to get back to work.
I gotta be honest with you here, Vaughn. You look a little nervous.
What? I mean, we're surrounded by hungry raptidons. Who wouldn't be? Am I right? Look, I don't want to go back out there, but there's a thing I gotta do. I had to leave an experiment running at the lab. Something I've been working on a long while. Something that could really get me ahead. Know what I mean?
Actually, I have no idea what you mean. Are we talking about something dangerous?
No, not unless you break the... But why would you? Let me explain. I've been extracting organic compounds from raptidons. Compounds that have, benefits.
Extracting how? No, wait, maybe I don't want to know.
In certain social situations. Personal situations. Where you might want to, enhance your charisma.
You're going to have to be more specific.
Some people say rap musk makes it easier to attract companionship. Makes you more, appealing.
So it's an aphrodisiac. Does it actually work?
The results are outside the margin of error. Technically.
You're kind of a creepy dude, Vaughn, I won't lie. I don't even want to know anymore. Can you cut to the chase already?
Sure. Of course. Our lab's south of here, down the road. Not the old public lab, the one past that, built into the mountainside.
Alright, I'll bite. Why are there two labs?
The newer lab is built for, more sensitive work. We mostly use the old lab for storage these days.
Should you be telling me about this place?
No. But there are outlaws shooting it up. I'm guessing it hasn't been secret for a while.
Alright, so second lab down the road. Got it. And when I get there?
My equipment's in the lower levels, way in the back. I have a big room all to myself. Dissection tables and whatnot. It should have been running this whole time. Just grab the results and bring them here.
So, Vaughn, would you describe this stuff as, I don't know, valuable?
If you have a buyer. I got a contact who wants to haul the entire batch to Byzantium. Help me out, I'll cut you in for a share. I'll even pay you before I am, when you deliver to me.
Do I need a code for the door from Anton?
No, I mean, In fact, don't mention this to Dr. Crane. At all.
Oh, I see. We're keeping this a secret from Anton, huh? Alright, I'll head up there and keep an eye out.
Great! This is really gonna save my ass.
As we go to leave the room...
How do you suppose that stuff's used? Do you drink it, or is it like perfume? I'm not interested, just curious.
Well, it certainly sounds like you're interested in the stuff, Parvati. Thinking about using it next time you're with Jumley Tennyson, You'll recall that in a previous video, Anton Crane told us about his own science experiment. A formula for diet toothpaste that suppresses appetite. Like Vaughn, Anton had to leave his research behind when the Raptidons attacked. So while we're exploring the secret lab for Vaughn's Raptidon musk, we might as well look for Anton's research as well. Kill two birds with one stone, as they say. To reach the secret lab, just head through Roseway's southern gate, follow the road until you reach the Raptidon heads, and then veer south. Once you arrive at an intersection with explosive canisters, take a left. The secret lab is just up ahead. Inside, we see a giant anti-Cleo sign behind the desk and a dead corporate commander sitting against it. We can loot his body for some elite troop armor, and then grab some Stogie Slims and a mag pick off the desk. Directly behind us, we can pass through a gated door and then a second door that leads into a large open room. Here, we can speak with a man named Porter.
You care to explain what you're doing here? Did you miss the big sign outside?
Relax, Anton sent me to help. You're in charge of security?
That I am. Name's Porter. If Doc Crane did send you, I'd be glad for the help. Bad news is, we haven't been able to clean these outlaws out of the lab. Good news is, they haven't been able to escape, neither.
Well, what about the vents? Couldn't they escape through the vents?
That's how they got in. We got that locked down. There's no access from their level without a security keycard. That also means no fresh air down there. Probably reeks of Raptidon musk. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch.
How have you been dealing with the Raptidons?
They don't care which side their lunch is on, but the Rapt cells are down with the Outlaws, so they're the appetizers. When it looks like they're fixing to make a sally upwards, I have a sniper pop the lock on a Rapt cell. It's kept them busy.
That's damn clever, you know that?
Thanks. Company will probably bill me, but better lose a Rapt than get shot, I says.
So you're saying it's a stalemate?
For now. I reckon they got no backup. On the other hand, we don't neither. And our mechanicals all went haywire for some damn reason. Damn mechanicals have always been more trouble than they're worth.
You say that you locked down the vents that the attackers entered through. Are you sure they'll hold?
Pretty damn sure. The shafts are sealed with 4-centimeter hatches. They're not getting back out that way without a security keycard. They'd need to take mine. Or make a new one in my office, I guess.
Where can I find your office?
Why you want to know that?
Look, I just want to make sure it's secured. You said the Outlaws could make a card there.
1 level down across from the cafeteria. But I locked it up, and I got the only key card. To get in, they'd have to blow it. We'd hear.
Well, have you been watching this whole time to make sure no one sneaks in?
Well, no. But like I said, to get it open, they'd have to bust the lock.
What exactly is it you do here, Porter?
Who, me? Or you mean the lab in general?
The lab in general.
Soap or something? I don't know. Years back, they made antibiotics. You could maybe ask Doc Crane what he does all day.
Well, so long as they pay you, I guess it doesn't matter, am I right?
Oh, the pay ain't much, but it's never been about the bits. I like Roseway.
And what about you, Porter? What are you in charge of around here?
I'm in charge of site safety engineering. Most days that means making sure folks don't run in the halls.
Oh, well, it's pretty quiet around here, huh? Normally, I mean.
Most days there ain't nothing to hear but wind, bugs, and the buildings falling slowly to pieces.
Yeah, falling to pieces while you live in them.
Well, it's not like the rain's coming in the roof. Not yet, anyway.
Alright, well, those Outlaws won't wait forever. I'll talk to you later. Along the western wall of this room, we find a door, but it's barred shut. However, there's a second door to the east that leads us deeper into the lab. We can loot a scientist for some ammo and bit cartridges, and then taking a look at our surroundings, we see that we have a few choices. We can either go through a door to the north, go through a gated door to the east, looks like there's a terminal inside this room, or we can continue down the hall to the south. There's a mechanical blocking the path, but we'll deal with it in just a few minutes. Hopefully it doesn't spot us. Heading through the door to the north first, we find ourselves in a bathroom. There's another dead scientist in here with sadly nothing to loot off his corpse, but we do find a bin containing 17 bit cartridges. Heading out of the bathroom, we can return to the gated door and have a look around what appears to be some kind of containment area. There are 4 locked cells in this room, 2 of which have dead scientists inside of them. I'm struggling to come up with a reason why this lab would even need prison cells to begin with. Were the scientists being held here against their will and forced to work? I'm honestly not quite sure. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We could unlock each of these cells individually, but it's much easier to just use the terminal at the far side of the room to unlock them all at once. However, note that using this terminal requires 2 bypass shunts. So now that I think about it, in hindsight, I probably should have just unlocked the cell doors individually. They don't require you to use any mag picks, and you just need to have a lockpicking skill of 15 or higher. Anyway, we can explore each of these cells and walk away with some minor loot, and then inside of some lockers we can grab bit cartridges, a sawed-off shotgun, a corporation service award, and a gyro sight. There's also a locked door to the east. You have to have 4 mag picks and a lockpicking skill of 35 to unlock it, but in my opinion, it's worth the investment. On the other side of the door, we find a small room with a terminal. However, there's nothing on it. Instead, we get an error message. Volume not found. Theft of terminal volumes is punishable by a fine of no less than 3,000 bits. Theft has been logged with the nearest site security office. Employee, please remain at this terminal until contacted by your site security officer in order to receive your ticket. Right, because I'm sure whoever stole the information off this terminal was more than willing to wait around to be reprimanded. In this room, we find a decent amount of loot, which is why I said that using the 4 mag picks it takes to unlock the door is well worth it. Of note, we can loot a bin containing 5 bypass shunts, 5 mag picks, a tossball card, armor parts, and 30 bit cartridges. There's also a workbench, some lockers for us to loot, and a smaller red bin containing light ammo and energy cells. Heading back into the main room with the hallway extending south, we can go to loot a bin that we missed earlier, but then...
Oh. Captain, look out! Can't get past that armor! You okay, Captain?
There's a door at the end of this hallway on our left. After passing through it, we can take out another mechanical on a floor below us. There's a red bin in here against the western wall, and... the body of a raptidon. Let's hope that we don't end up like this scientist here. Passing through a doorway to the south, we run straight into a scrap mechanical.
Here we go! That's the last of them!
From where we stand, there's 2 different hallways we can explore. One to the south and another to the east. Heading east first, we can pick the lock of a gated door along the northern wall. Alternatively, we could have used Porter's office keycard if we were successful in talking him into handing it over. We find ourselves inside Porter's office. There's a terminal sitting on a desk in this room, which we can use to print a copy of the Covert Lab security keycard. Make sure that you grab this keycard in your playthrough, because it turns out to be pretty important later on. Near to the desk is a bin that's well worth the 2 mag picks it requires to open, because inside are 10, yes 10, bypass shunts, 10 mag picks, adreno, ammo, and 75 bit cartridges. There's also more lockers than I could count, but it's a good idea to take the time to go through them all, because many of them contain ammo, bit cartridges, weapons, and armor. Just outside of Porter's office, we can loot a scientist for some bit cartridges and ammo, and then pass through a nearby door to the east. This leads us into Anton's office, where we find another terminal in the center of the room. If we click on messages, then we gain access to 3 emails, all from Jeff Trammell, who we learn is Auntie Cleo's project director. In the first email, Trammell writes, "The last batch is showing great promise, Anton, and though I hesitate to tempt the fates, I might even dare say it's a smashing success. Incidents of cavities have dropped significantly in the test subjects using the toothpaste, with only minor side effects. Nothing too serious, mind you, just a touch of blindness. So if you could look into that, it would be much appreciated. Keep this up and you'll find yourself in Byzantium post-haste." Blindness is a minor side effect? Really? Man, I'd hate to see what they consider a major side effect. Let's hope Anton does something to improve this diet toothpaste of his. In the second email, Trammell writes, "Upon further review of our results, we've uncovered something quite fascinating. While the toothpaste does reduce cavities, it does so only nominally more than the current version. Our results were skewed by the fact that our test subjects had a marked decrease in appetite, and hence were eating much less. That will teach us to monitor our subjects more closely, huh?" No, I doubt that'll teach you a damn thing, honestly. Seriously, though, the appetite-suppressant qualities of this new formulation are quite incredible, though the taste and texture leave something to be desired. So we'd like for that to be your focus moving forward. No need to waste any more time on the blindness thing. We've got the boys in marketing working on a solution on our end. Oh, I'd love to see the twisted marketing plan they came up with for this one. Auntie Cleo's diet toothpaste. You'll be so skinny that you won't even notice the blindness setting in. Or something like that. The third email reads, "Seriously, Anton, you really must let the whole blindness thing go. Your dedication to solving it is admirable, but also a bit misguided, I dare say. It's really not that big of an issue in the grand scope of this whole thing, and pales in comparison to the texture and flavor issues, which we'd prefer you to spend all of your time on. You're also mistaken for our ultimate goals for the product. The appetite-suppressant qualities make this something much more valuable in the townships than even Byzantium. The need for less food to satisfy our workers can add greatly to our bottom line, so marketing is focusing their efforts in that direction. I'm not certain, but that may have something to do with them rejecting your Appazap suggestion for a name. Let's leave marketing to the marketing department, shall we? I'm sorry, I still can't get over the whole blindness thing. How is that not a big issue? I just don't understand. We can loot a mag pick off of a small table in the southwest corner of the room, and nearby we find a safe that looks like it's been broken into. We can interact with this safe to learn a bit more about it. The safe has been forcibly opened, with its contents tossed about haphazardly. The remaining notes refer to various aborted projects. Anton's prized research is nowhere to be found. Scorch marks along the rim suggest the work of unsubtle thieves. Outlaws, most likely, made off with Anton's work. Darn, so close. I was really hoping to find Anton's research in here. Looks like we're just going to have to keep looking. After grabbing some loot, we can head out of Anton's office and then veer left into the cafeteria we saw earlier. Hanging on the wall, we find a menu. Monday, borscht. Tuesday, borscht soup. Wednesday, borscht surprise. Not sure I want to know what the surprise is. Thursday, borscht and beans. Friday, beans and borscht. Oh, tomato, am I right? In the cafeteria, there's a whole lot of food sitting on various shelves and tables, and an unlocked bin containing 5 bypass shunts, 5 mag picks, a Dreno, some mods, and bit cartridges. There's also a couple of vending machines in case you wanted to resupply. There's a doorway leading out of the cafeteria to the west, but before we continue, we can pass through a door to the south into a storage room. There's a few bins containing some ammo, and a couple of bodies stacked on top of each other in the corner. Wonder what on earth happened to these guys. There's some more minor loot inside some lockers, and directly across from the lockers is a sedative gas canister. A label on the canister states, Anti-Cleo's Raptigon is guaranteed to render even the largest Raptidons unconscious for no less than 6 hours, and has a refreshing antiseptic scent. Should a method for gas dispersal be found, this canister may prove very useful. Be sure to grab this canister because it will come in handy later. Anyway, heading through a locked door to the west, we find ourselves in an even smaller storage room with another bin full of loot, some items on a shelf, and a second sedative gas canister. There's an incredibly easy way to deal with all of the Raptidons in the lab using these gas canisters that I'll show you in just a bit, but you can only pull it off if you have 3 gas canisters. In my playthrough, I counted exactly 3, so you'll need this one if you want it to work. Backtracking through the cafeteria and returning to where we shot down the scrap mechanical, we can move down the hall to the south. The hallway splits off to the west, but before we head that way, we can pass through a door at the end of this southern hallway into a room that we'll eventually learn belongs to Orson Shaw. There's a 3rd gas canister in here, a bypass shunt sitting on the desk, and after accessing a terminal, we can read 3 messages that were sent to Mr. Shaw. The first is from Estes Finley. Orson, you assured me that the new lunch rations are harmless, but I've experienced an unexpected flood of symptoms. I've logged irregular seepage, every afternoon between 1423 and 1443. That's military time for 223 and 243. Please find what I consider evidence deposited in your mailbox. Oh, well, that's lovely. The next email is from Porter. Orson, I took our automechanical parts back. I catch you swiping from maintenance again, I'll slap you down so hard they'll feel it in Byzantium. We got enough problems keeping them contraptions running. Finally, the 3rd message is from Vaughn Cortez. Hey Orson, if you're up for it, there should be a new batch of concentrated distillate available tonight. Meet me outside the gate at 1700? Concentrated distillate, where have we seen that before? Oh, I know. We saw it written on a chalkboard inside the storage facility. Beneath that chalkboard was a dead scientist, which makes me wonder, did Vaughn and Orson have one of the scientists working round the clock to produce this concentrated distillate? Maybe they were paying him under the table to get their hands on one of the best drugs science could create. I don't know, just theorizing here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Backing out of the terminal, we can loot a red bin for some ammo, and then grab a heavy machine gun off a desk against the southern wall. Backtracking down the hallway and then turning left, where we saw it split off earlier, someone suddenly calls out to us just as we begin to explore.
Hey! You!
What? Who said that?
Over here!
Oh, hello there.
Oh, good. You're not shooting at me. That's a start. It's been a bit of a day, so I'll get to the point. Yes, I have Crane's research. No, I'm not giving it back. Sorry to disappoint you.
Ah, so you're one of the outlaws Porter was telling me about who broke into the lab. Anton mentioned something about outlaws too. I imagine he means you.
Yes, I imagine he does. But we all have problems. It is the human condition. I am myself ensnared in this wretched place. You want to kill me. I don't want to die. Therefore, it is in my best interest to negotiate with you. Help me get out of here, and I will pay you for my life.
Alright, lady, let's start from the beginning. Why are you down here?
Same reason you are, more than likely. I imagine we picked up the same tip. Secret research facility, abandoned town, minimal security?
No, actually, I was tracking down a distress call.
Crane actually sent out a cry for help? Oh, the poor bastard. Seeing his life's work snatched from him? Must be like losing a child.
That's actually a good point. Now that I think of it, I think Crane sent out the distress call not because Roseway was being attacked, but because his precious research was missing. That was his emergency, not the Raptidons. Pathetic. But Cassandra, what do you have against Anton?
Crane is the man who runs this lab. Probably gone around the bend fretting over his beloved research. Not that there's anything lovable about diet toothpaste.
Well, you know, nothing wrong with taking care of your teeth.
Diet toothpaste. Can you imagine a more pernicious example of corporate materialism? I do not know what is worse. Working here, or dying here.
So, wait a minute. You mean to tell me you went through all this trouble just to steal a formula for diet toothpaste?
What matters is that I have been lied to. I was led to believe this was a high-priority corporate facility hiding valuable research. This job was not supposed to end with me stuck in some wretched lab smelling like rats. So I would be very much obliged if you gave me a break.
What's in it for me?
You mean other than the satisfaction of doing me a good turn? Trust me, I'll make it worth your while.
I don't know. My while is worth a lot.
I am good for my word. You will be equitably rewarded, on my honor. But I will not haggle or bargain with you until you help me.
Alright, tell me what you need.
The first thing I need is a keycard to unlock my door. Then I'd need you to clear me a path out of here. There are 2 ways out. The quickest is through the front door, but Cleo security's bottled up in there. If you don't want to shoot them, I suppose you could talk to them. The other way out is through the loading bay, but you'd have to clear out the Raps for me. Then I could just slip out the back, sight unseen.
Look, lady, I'm going to need a damn good reason to risk my neck for you.
Because Crane is a tool. Because no good deed goes unrewarded. Because doing me a good turn is the honorable and decent thing. Take your pick.
How is helping a bunch of outlaws the honorable thing to do?
We are all of us trapped. You, me, the scientists. This is not a colony. It is a slave camp. Yes, we raided the lab, shot some guards, killed a few scientists in the crossfire, but it was all for a higher cause.
Oh, I see. So you're a murderer with a conscience.
All wars have casualties. I regret taking a life, but we were doing them a mercy. Better to die than live in a state of slavery.
You're pretty conceited for a common bandit, you know that?
I prefer freedom fighter, but I will not quibble over semantics. Come on now. Do you want to be dull and boring and servile like everyone else? Or do you want to break some rules?
Alright, I'll help you out.
You might be the first stroke of luck I've had all day. Thank you. I'm in your debt.
If you agree to help Cassandra, then you fail the objective of recovering Anton's data. However, fear not, there's still a chance to retrieve it a bit later. Just because I'm helping you doesn't make us friends, you know.
I do not have friends. I have associates.
Give it to me straight. What will I get myself into by helping you?
Nothing beyond the purview of a talented freelancer like you.
From here, we can pass a speech check and say, I can talk the guards into leaving, but your people have to let them pass.
You really expect me to just let them pass? Why? So they can regroup behind their walls and mount another assault? Never mind. I'm obviously in no position to argue with you. If you can talk those guards into standing down, my people will follow suit.
Okay, that sounds like a nice, peaceful resolution to this problem. Wait here, I'll be back.
Take your time. I am, to my chagrin, not going anywhere.
Directly across from Cassandra is a door leading into Vaughn's lab. In the center of the lab are 4 dissection tables, 2 of which have butchered raptidons on top of them. The floor is completely covered in blood. Whatever work Vaughn was doing in here sure was messy. On one of the dissection tables, we find a unique weapon called the Raptiprod, which is described as a tossball stick that's been modified to deal extra shock damage to raptidons. This 2-handed melee weapon deals 129 DPS, and though it did deal a decent amount of damage against raptidons, I found it to be too slow of a weapon for my taste. Looking through some grates in the floor, we notice that we're standing over a pool of some kind of green liquid. Vaughn mentioned that he had been extracting raptidon musk. I wonder if this is it? On the west side of the lab is a terminal. On it, we learn that Vaughn's experiment was 98% complete before he was forced to put it on pause and flee the lab. We can learn more about Vaughn's research by clicking on View Experiment Log. So far, the musk extraction is coming along nicely. Pressure levels seem to be staying even, and variance in the samples seems to be at an acceptable tolerance. I thought these wraps smelled bad on the outside. Now that they're cut open, everyone is likely to avoid my lab for the rest of the day while I finish this up. Wait a sec, there's some kind of commotion going on out in the hall. An alarm just started going off. Must be another damn security system check. Let me go see what's going on. On the main page of this terminal, we're given 3 options regarding how we want the experiment to proceed. Unfortunately, I could only select 2 of them since my science skill wasn't high enough to recalibrate the experiment. But if we go ahead and select Complete Experiment, then we gain Raptidon Musk and complete the objective, Acquire Vaughn's Research. The Raptidon Musk is a sickly neon green color, and after looking at it in our inventory, I think it's safe to say that the pool of liquid we saw beneath the floor was indeed the same substance. That's a lot of Raptidon Musk. How many Raptidons has Vaughn been experimenting on, exactly? If we reload a previous save and instead select Emergency Sample Purge, then we get a warning message followed by the words Power Supply Overload, but it cuts off. I think what happened here is all of that green Raptidon musk we see beneath the floor was going to be drained, but there was so much of it that the systems couldn't keep up and the purge was unsuccessful. I wanted to keep the Raptidon musk in my playthrough though, so I reloaded a previous save and then continued onward. At the south end of the lab, we find a locked bin containing ammo, 65-bit cartridges, and Golden Standard Troop Armor, which grants you a +7 dodge bonus. But I'll be honest, I just wanted to equip it because of how good it looks. I mean, come on, look at that! And with an advanced defensive helmet to boot, just call me Iron Man. Sorry. On a table along the western wall of this lab, we find a Vortex Mace, which is actually pretty similar to the Silencer, which I covered in my video on Relay GB23. The only significant differences are that the Vortex Mace deals slightly more damage, but doesn't have the Silencer's bleed effect. Heading out of the lab and traveling up a ramp to the west, we spot an outlaw sniper patrolling the halls.
Here we go.
Then, a canid rushes out from behind a corner.
Here we go.
Damn, Parvati, you're pretty ruthless with that flamethrower. I mean, didn't even give him a chance. It looks like there's a couple of doors we can explore up ahead, and then a third door down some stairs to the west. But before we go any further, we can read a nearby terminal that belongs to Hans Braden. The first message written to Brayden is from a man, presumably a scientist, named Rohan Agarwal. Subject, Raptidon Sedative. Hans, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is that we've got a sprat problem. Thanks to the little monsters chewing on our wires, our ventilation system is temporarily offline. If your Raptidons are cranky, you'll need to sedate them manually. Bring a few canisters of sedative and hook it up to the auxiliary terminal in the main research chamber. The good news is that my Hephaestus hammers clobbered your precious Rizzo's Rangers. Would you care for some Auntie Cleo's Tripicale pasta sauce with your humble pie? And in the second email, Gail Baker writes, Hans, please explain the unmitigated disaster I'm currently holding in my hand. I have here a form approving the relocation of our Raptidon mother to the main hall. A form signed by you. First of all, the structural integrity of our Raptidon tanks are not nearly sufficient to contain an enraged Raptidon mother. Secondly, Raptidons are notoriously territorial and extremely protective of their young. Please stop me if I'm using too many numbers for you. I know you have a problem with basic arithmetic, seeing how you don't seem to realize that Raptidon mother plus Raptidon tank equals murder. Respectfully yours, Gail. Yeah, I was never great at math in school either, but even I know that Raptidon mother plus Raptidon tank equals murder. Come on, Brayden, get it together. Heading down the stairs to the west, we come to a giant room with Raptidons stuffed into test tubes and stacked floor to ceiling. We'll look around more closely in a moment, but first, we have to deal with a few Raptidons before we become dinner. Now here's something important to take note of. That Raptidon matriarch was the mother Raptidon that Anton wanted us to keep alive. I wasn't aware of this until it was too late, so sadly, I didn't get a chance to see what happens if you spare the Raptidon mother in my playthrough. You can spare it by using the 3 sedative gas canisters that we picked up earlier. On the north end of this room, we find 3 consoles that we can use to install the canisters. Then, on the opposite end of the room, we find a terminal. There are 2 messages on it, but these are the same messages we read earlier from Rohan and Gale. That being said, we can ignore the messages and instead select Ventilate Gas. As expected, the sedative Raptigon gas begins pouring out of the lab's vents. I hope that worked. With any luck, the rest of the Raptidons should be sleeping soundly now. Before heading out, we can do a quick lap around this room and pick up some loot. We find a bypass shunt and a few bit cartridges on a shelf, and to the west, a bin containing a grenade launcher, weapon parts, 90 bit cartridges, a Focusidol capsule, and a Dreno. There's also a bin tucked into the shadows nearby with a modest amount of ammo. Heading back up the stairs to where Parvati mercilessly scorched that outlaw earlier with her flamethrower, we can travel through a door just across the hall to the east. There's a bin we can loot for some armor parts, and then looking down from the balcony, we spot several Raptidons. But they're sleeping. I wasn't sure at the time whether that was because of the gas or because the Raptidons just wanted to catch some Z's, but just to be on the safe side, I decided to proceed with caution. Creeping down the stairs, we can head into a dim side room to the west. This was one of the cells that the scientists were keeping the Raptidons in. And, well, looks like the Raptidons weren't too happy about that. Rock and debris litter the floor, but thankfully, the Raptidons in here appear to already be dead. I eventually decided to man up and see whether or not the gas had really worked. Hello, Mr. Raptidon. You gonna wake up and chew my face off? No? Well, okay then. I guess the gas canisters did their job. Now we can move freely through the lab without having to worry about being mauled by Raptidons. In this room, we find the gated door that Cassandra is trapped behind. We're given the option to unlock it using the Covert Lab security keycard, but first, I wanted to speak with her again.
I would ask what was on your mind, but the answer is obviously me.
We're given a couple of different choices here. We can either ask her some more questions, or we can attack. We'll have a conversation with her in a moment, but first, let's see what happens when we gun her down.
I have your back. Get past that armor. Got him. Woo! We made it.
On Cassandra's corpse, we find some heavy ammo, bit cartridges, and Auntie Cleo's research data, which we know is Anton's research into the diet toothpaste. As I said, we'll reload a previous save in a moment and see what happens when we free Cassandra instead of killing her. But for now, we can finish up exploring the lab and then figure out what we're going to do with the research. Returning to the spot where Parvati scorched the outlaw, we can travel to the end of the hallway and pass through a door to the north. We find ourselves inside the loading bay. There are several sleeping raptidons in this room, and I gotta be honest, I'm pretty happy that I used that gas canister. This would have been a hell of a fight if we didn't. There's an unlocked bin next to a vending machine that we can loot for some bit cartridges, armor and weapon parts, and more bit cartridges and a mag pick nearby. Along the eastern wall is a door leading out to Roseway Gardens, and incidentally, this is where Cassandra will escape if you choose to clear the raptidons for her, instead of clearing out Porter and his guards. Heading up some stairs, we can pass through a door into a smaller office space and pick up some minor loot, but nothing significant. With that, we can return to where we found Cassandra and head over to the northeast corner of the room. Here, we find a gate that we can pass through to access an elevator, which takes us all the way back to the room with Porter and his guards.
You done a job of work. After you cacked their employer, the gun hands started surrendering, or trying to slip out.
Now remember, this is Porter responding to us killing Cassandra like he asked us to do. Feeling a bit cocky, we can brush some dust off our shoulders and say, they weren't so tough.
They seem pretty dangerous to us. Guess you're more on their level.
Yeah, I've been around, seen some things, shot most of them.
Then we're lucky you were passing by.
So, is there a reward for this, or are you going to leave me hanging?
Get down to Roseway and talk to Doc Crane. He'll make sure you get what's yours.
Great, I'll do that. How are your people?
Lost some of my own in the fight, and a bunch of the staff died before we could get them to Roseway.
Not your fault, Porter.
Sign on my door says it is, but that ain't your trouble.
With the diet toothpaste research in hand, we can return to Anton Crane for our reward.
Oh, it's you. As if my thoughts weren't dark enough already. What is it?
What is up with this guy? How come every time I talk to him, he sounds like he wants to jump off a cliff? Well, Anton, I'll have you know that the Outlaws are now without a leader.
My research? Please tell me you've recovered it.
Really? Not even a word about how happy you are that your people are safe? Yes, I've recovered it. Here you go.
That's... You can't possibly understand the enormity of what you've done for me. And what, pray tell, is the status of our raptidons?
Still nothing about your employees, you big jerk? I gassed the raptidons, but I was forced to kill the mother. I'm sorry.
That complicates the equation somewhat. No matter, I have the research. Excellent. If we're done here, I'd like to get back to work. You understand?
There's more to this conversation that reveals a lot more about the way Anton views the world, but I'm going to save that content for an upcoming video all about Anton Crane. For returning the research to him, we're rewarded with 3,000 bit cartridges and a pair of researcher's scrubs. While we're here in Roseway, we might as well pay a visit to Vaughn Cortez and turn in his research as well. Just like before, we find him inside the Roseway luxury apartments.
Any news? On that thing we spoke about? You know, that thing?
I found your experiment.
Don't keep me in suspense. Did you get my stuff? I mean, not mine. It's for other parties. Buyers.
Yep, I've got it. All yours.
This is gonna make me so popular. I mean, with the people who buy it, not by using it. Because I'm not.
You're definitely going to use it.
Only for testing purposes. Quality control. You would, right?
Nope, not a chance.
Gosh, no. Not even once.
You just don't understand the market. Anyway, here's a cut for you. In advance for my profits. Pleasure doing business with you.
And we walk away with 1,500 bit cartridges. We now know that the total amount we walk away with if we return the research to Anton, Crane, Orson Shaw, and Vaughn Cortez is 6,100. A max of 1,600 bit cartridges for returning the schematics to Orson Shaw, 1,500 for returning the Raptidon Musk to Vaughn Cortez, and 3,000 for returning the diet toothpaste research to Anton Crane. But what happens if we return all of the research to Gladys aboard the Groundbreaker instead? For turning in Anton's research to Gladys, we are rewarded with 3,000 bit cartridges, and Gladys says,
"These corporations, I tell you. Once they get an idea into their big dense heads, there's no getting it out again. Can't imagine how I'll offload this. But waste not, want not, I suppose."
For turning in Vaughn's research to Gladys, we are rewarded with 1,500 bit cartridges, and Gladys says,
"Pardon me, sweetheart. My old ears must have misheard you. Did you say Raptidon? Gracious, someone must have hauled them off Monarch. Naughty, naughty. A couple of folks around here might pay a fair few bits for this. Might even be able to start a bidding war."
And for turning in Orson Shaw's schematics to Gladys, we are rewarded with 1,500 bit cartridges. We also receive a bonus of 300 bit cartridges for bringing all 3 items to Gladys, bringing the total to 6,300 bit cartridges. Just 200 more than when we return the research to their rightful owners in Roseway. It's really not that big of a difference at all. At last, let's see what happens if we choose to keep Cassandra alive rather than kill her. Reloading a previous save, we can speak with her back inside the secret lab.
I would ask what was on your mind, but the answer is obviously me.
Hold on just a minute. I've got some questions for you.
Ask away. I have got nothing but time.
So now that you have Anton's research, what do you intend to do with it?
Sell it, of course. I don't have any use for the scribblings of idiotic scientists, but whoever gave me this tip obviously does. Assuming I make it out of this place alive. And with my ship out of commission, I'll have to leave on foot and hope my luck changes. One problem at a time, I suppose.
You act like the corporations are your enemy. What do you have against them?
From the day we are born, we are made to obey. Never question, never hope. Never dream of anything greater than the lot appointed to us. Corporations expect us to work until the day we die. But they could not give a half-bit shit about our lives.
So why would you and your crew raid an anti-Cleo facility?
No one asks why anymore. The establishment tells us to live here, work there, eat that, drink this. All our choices are made for us, so we forget we ever had a choice. I am doing this because I can. Because it thrills me. Because I take a deep and profound pleasure from stabbing at the heart of corporate power, no matter how shallow the wound.
How did you end up in this mess?
I have been asking myself the same question. Our tactics were sound, but no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. We were acting on a good tip, but the tip never mentioned the Raps. When we hit the lab, those Raps got loose, tore through as many of ours as theirs.
With that, we can go ahead and unlock the door to free Cassandra.
Finally! I've never been so pleased at the sight of an open door. Please tell me you've cleared a way out of here.
Now remember, we've already taken care of the Raptidons by using the sedative gas, so as of right now, Cassandra could escape through the loading bay. However, I wanted to give her the choice of either escaping through the loading bay or the front door. But to allow her to walk out the front door, we have to speak with Porter and get him to stand down. When we return to him after freeing Cassandra, though, he isn't too pleased with us.
You must think me a fool. I was watching on the security cameras. You got downright friendly with the outlaw leader. I reckon we got nothing to say to each other. You best back yourself out of here. Nice and slow.
Ease off the trigger, Porter. Hear me out.
You got 1 minute. Starting now.
I convinced Cassandra to let you leave in peace. The lab's a wreck. The staff's half dead.
You convinced her to let us leave in peace. Listing the ills we've been done ain't exactly putting me in a mind to compromise.
Look around, Porter. Hasn't there been enough death already?
I gotta believe that all we done will mean something to the company. To Doc Crane. That effort will make up for mistakes.
This isn't a cause worth dying for, Porter. You're meant for better than this.
I trust that we all end up where we're supposed to be. That all the variables come together in the end. I reckon I don't see any better solution. Fine, damn it. We'll pull out. Here, my keycard. It'll get you access to the whole place. Full stakes, people. We're heading back to town.
And with that, Porter and his guards start heading towards the exit. But strangely, as soon as they leave the lab, we hear something tragic.
Stop! You picked the wrong damn day.
Did the anti-Cleo guards and the Outlaws just attack each other? I rushed outside immediately after hearing this, only to find nothing. No bodies, no signs of a firefight, nothing. What on earth happened? Did Porter and his guards start the attack, or did Cassandra's Outlaws? Who won? How many casualties were there? After quickly looking around outside the lab, I rushed back down to Cassandra's cell, expecting her to be gone, but strangely, she was still there. You'll recall that earlier, when we first met Cassandra, we persuaded her to leave peacefully with her outlaws if we convinced Porter and his guards to stand down. Well, we convinced Porter and his guards to stand down, but it seems that all but Cassandra went back on their word. But wait a minute, what about Porter? Did he survive the firefight? I rushed back to Roseway in search of him, and thankfully, I found him arguing with Anton Crane inside the comms building.
Damn right we left the lab. What's left there that's worth dying for?
You let them get away. Worthless, the lot of you.
Well, you get what you pay for, don't you?
Well, Anton Crane isn't too happy that we let the Outlaws go, but so be it. It was the most peaceful option we had. And the best part is, Porter is still alive, but we still have no idea what happened in that battle. Something tells me that the Outlaws started it just based on the fact that they're typically more ruthless and unpredictable, but we'll never know for sure. Anyway, heading back down to Cassandra, we can finally speak with her.
I would ask what was on your mind, but the answer is obviously me.
I've cleared both paths out of here. The loading bay or the front door, it's your choice. Don't make me regret it.
So you have. I am much obliged. And now, if you do not mind, I have had quite enough of this wretched place.
Here again, we have a few different ways we can respond. If we allow Cassandra to keep the research, then we're rewarded with a healthy amount of experience. Incidentally, if we allow Cassandra to hold on to the research, then Anton Crane isn't too pleased with us.
That's all manner of distressing. There truly is nothing left for me. I suppose we're finished here.
Alternatively, we can say to Cassandra, listen, I'm gonna need you to turn over that research.
Oh, really? And why, pray tell, would I do a thing like that?
Because you don't want a price on your head, that's why.
Your point is well taken. I would rather not spend the rest of my days looking over my shoulder for the shadow of my headhunter. Here, take the damned research. Tell Crane I hope he chokes on it.
We can squeeze some money out of Cassandra by saying, I didn't save your life for free, you know.
Good. I never trust a freelancer who works for free.
And we get 1,000 bit cartridges. But we can get even more money from Cassandra through intimidation, saying, come on, I know you can do better than that.
There is no need to glare at me like that. You have made your point.
And we get an additional 500 bit cartridges, meaning that we can walk away with a total of 1,500 bit cartridges from Cassandra, plus Anton's research, if we play our cards right. This means that it's possible to gain 4,500 bit cartridges in total by taking the diet toothpaste back to Anton, a max of 1,500 from Cassandra, and 3,000 from Anton. All that being said, I'd like to revise a previous comment I made about the financial rewards of returning the research to Gladys versus returning the research to Anton, Vaughn, and Orson. There's actually a lot more potential to make money by bringing the research back to Roseway rather than bringing it back to Gladys. If you nickel and dime Cassandra and then return the toothpaste research to Anton, the schematics to Orson Shaw, and the Raptidon Musk to Vaughn, then you will walk away with 7,600 bit cartridges, assuming my math is correct. That's 1,300 more than you get if you bring all the research back to Gladys. In conclusion, keeping the research in Roseway is the more profitable choice. Folks, we covered a lot in this video, so much that I feel as though I can't give you my full and complete thoughts in the few minutes we have left. That being said, in the coming weeks, I plan on making a series of videos that dive deeper into the characters we met, the experiments they were conducting, and the current state of Roseway in general. For example, I'd love to take a closer look at Anton Crane. Who is he? Is he a bad guy, or is he just misunderstood? I'd also like to do a video on Cassandra and answer the question, is she really the self-righteous freedom fighter that she claims to be? Or is she just like every other outlaw we've seen in the game? Where did Cassandra come from? And who gave her the tip about Anton's research? Look forward to videos like these and much more in the coming weeks. But I'd love to know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. What did you think about the experiments that were being conducted by Vaughn Cortez? What do you think happened when Porter and his guards left the lab? And what are your initial thoughts on Cassandra O'Malley? Let me know in the comments below. I post new videos on the Outer Worlds every Wednesday and Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, so be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be alerted when I post new content. If you're so inclined, leave a like on this video too. I'd really appreciate it. I'll be back in just a few days with a brand new video on the Outer Worlds, but that's all I've got for now. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.